did you see Lion King, the remake?
No.
Are you a fan of Lion King?
Yeah.
The animated one. So I just got back from it like a few hours ago.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie. It's almost a shot for shot remake of the animated one, but
That's
real
nice.
life. But it's I didn't think that the effects would hold up. I wasn't sure how I was gonna feel about animals talking, and I think they totally made it work.
Yeah.
It looks very. There was no human element to the faces or anything. It was just straight animals talking. It was like watching a National Geographic or a Planet Earth type of thing.
I mean, I'll give them credit from the clips that I saw, the fact that, animals don't have as much facial expression as the cartoons would, so they had to do more with the animals' bodies. So from the clips that I saw, I'll give them credit. They had to put more thought into that.
It was like there's some shots that obviously stuck out like a sore thumb, but like the reason I swear they made it look like most of the movie was that's the animated one.
Can we keep him?
Yes, of course we
That's the part that I saw.
So the lighting technique they used was basically they wanted to have. They don't have things in direct light a lot. Like throughout the whole movie, they would have like half of, if not like at least a third of the character in some sort of shadow. It's like they made it seem like they shot within like 4 hours of sunrise or 4 hours of sunset.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole movie, which not having the CGI animals in direct light allows and also having the same shadow pattern throughout the whole scene. Like rocks have the same type of shadow on it and the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of made a better trick the eye enough to make it seem like they really fit in.
Oh, that's smart.
That's pretty much how the whole movie was. I really dug it. Like
begging for scraps.
That's delicious, and it looked just as good on the big screen. Like just from the trailers, I wasn't sure. But see, like there's shadows. They're in the darkness. They're in shade. They're not showing full. But it's like what is in light is furry enough.
That's
It
smart.
just works. It just really worked for me. I dug it. I dug it a lot. And honestly, it's a nostalgia trip for sure for kids who grew up watching it. But those Mufasa scenes, also with James Earl Jones returning, the only returning cast member.
Who was he in the original?
Mufasa. The dad.
That makes sense.
Very, I cried. I teared up. Like, there's like 3 major scenes where, he gives his son the talk or the motivation or whatever. It's beautiful. It's a great message still, this movie.
Well, the interesting thing is that one was, I met one of the people who worked on it, and she said all of us who were on this B movie called King of the Jungle at the time, it was a slap in the face, and that was basically the sign from the Disney studio that you were not one of the chosen ones if you were working on that one. No one wanted to work on that one.
King of the Jungle? What's that?
Lion King.
That's what that ended up being?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was this B movie called King of the Jungle with no human characters in it that no one wanted to be on. And if you were working on that, that was a sign that they didn't think that you were that talented. The one everyone wanted to be on was the one that they knew would be the big hit, which was Pocahontas.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah.
That's dude, the music in it is still great. Those songs
it's wonderful.
are very good.
And she said it worked out well for them because then everyone who worked on The Lion King was very popular then because Lion King was the bigger movie.
Dude, I was obsessed with
the music is great.
I used to have I had a box which had every character in it, like a figurine, play with them and do stuff.
Did they still leave in the remember who you are when he sees his father's ghost?
Yes, dude, and they do it in a photo. It's photorealistic, so he's still in the clouds. But it's like spoilers. Thunder clouds. You've seen the movie. I mean, fuck it. It's the same movie. It's like thunder in the clouds. It's dark. It's thundering. But the lightning shows the outline of Mufasa.
Oh, that's clever.
And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. You could have told me, like, I know they didn't shoot it like this, but it looks like they went out to Africa and shot, like, all the locations. And then, sometimes it seemed like the characters were superimposed in there. When the few times it wasn't direct light, because it's hard to fake still. But for the most part, the The visuals were great. And a few of the actors, Seth Rogen took me out of the movie every time he appeared. He plays Pumbaa.
Yeah.
And he is the only member of the cast who can't sing, like, at all.
Oh, they didn't dub him?
So during Hakuna Matata, they literally, like, he's, like, at 1 decibel. And he even cuts out some words early. Like, it was mostly Timon singing Hakuna Matata.
I mean, that's probably smart.
But it's just, and it's Seth Rogen, so it just sounds like Seth Rogen, and he still does laugh. So you can just, it's just like Seth Rogen playing a warthog versus, like, you know, the character.
I don't even know
Simba.
who was the original. I know Nathan Lane was Timon.
And
I can't imagine Seth Rogen singing.
And and he didn't actually. The two of the main Timon and Pumbaa songs, he only sang Hakuna Matata very low. The other 2 scenes where there were songs, he literally said the lyrics.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me. It's probably better than having him really belt it.
Well, for what it's worth, everyone else in the cast was great at singing, and the song sounded fantastic. John Oliver as Zazu, great choice. I dug it. I'm surprised at how much I dug it. I'm glad I've been able to express that. You should go see it. If you liked it, keep hitting the goddamn mic. If you liked it, you should go see it.
All right, fully noted.
This is a good movie for nowadays, learning about nature or seeing the beauty of nature and how important it is to protect it and to preserve it, because there's definitely a future that exists where lions, tigers, zebras, giraffes, elephants aren't existing in this world, and the only way that we're going to get to see them is if we conjure them up on a computer and put them in a movie, unless we get our shit together.
Yeah,
start
we need to do that.
Taking care of the planet. So this is a good time for this film to be out, and it's about people of all different species, animals coming together and working together.
That's true.
Circle of life.
Yeah, they all need to be functioning as a whole in order for it to work.
And I like the idea. I forgot. Like there's some layered shit in Lion King. Like
absolutely.
Like the Scar. The reason they don't like Scar running it thing is because they're over hunting the Pride lands, and there's no food for anyone. So
I guess it was
don't just take things just because you can have them.
No.
Have some self-restraint. God damn it.
Yeah, there needs to be balance for everything. And it was deleted, but in one of the scenes it was they were telling him that he would be more popular if he had a queen, and so he started pursuing Nala. In the original script, that's why she runs into Simba, is he banishes her unless she marries him. And she runs away, and that's when she runs into Simba. That was in the original script.
I mean, you have to assume that Scar was banging all them lionesses. It's just Scar and a bunch of lion chicks. There's no other dudes in the Pride. I mean, I think...
Oh. Really?
I think they're his, man.
What other guys are there? Yeah, there aren't any other lions.
At least
just
I don't know
lioness.
about I don't remember about the cartoon, but at least in today.
No, there's no others. None that I can think of.
So, Scar was running shit and getting it in.
I know that they did fix most of the errors that were in the original regarding things that are not actually seen in Africa.
Oh yeah.
With the exception of red ants, because apparently the red ants played an important role in the plot at some point in the remake. I don't remember what it was. It did bother me, though, with what they changed for how Simba was baptized, because the point of his baptism is, first they break the fruit over his face, and then they cover it with dust, and the idea being first you are born, and eventually you will die.
Yeah, they took the fruit out.
They took it out and they changed it to the entire thing being like a red powder, which I understand it's because apparently that fruit's not native to Africa. But the idea is, the fruit is you're born and the dust is you will die. It's the circle of life, which is what they sing about right afterward. That's the whole point of that sequence.
That's a good catch. And that just reminded me of something I didn't even realize. They took out, they were missing the Rafiki scene. Like, Rafiki has his one-on-one with Simba and, kind of points him in the direction of his father's ghostly wisdom. But there's no... one of my favorite parts of the original was when he's like, he hits him in the head. He's like, it doesn't matter. It's in the past.
Ow! Jeez, what was that for? It doesn't matter. It's in the past.
I don't know. I just realized that wasn't in the movie.
I wonder
I'm
why
pissed
it
about
wasn't
that
there.
now. Wow. They don't have that in the movie. I wonder what else they didn't have.
Well,
That's
for one
pretty
thing,
big.
Rafiki doesn't have a tail. He had a tail in the original.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't actually know what species he was. They thought he was a baboon, but the original drawings were a different animal entirely.
Oh, shit.
And so that's why they had to change it, because there is no animal that looks like Rafiki.
Damn.
He has a face like, I forget the name of it actually, has a face like another animal, but baboons have tails. And they got confused and they drew him as like a blend of both. And they refer to him as a baboon in the original. And he's not a baboon because that's not a baboon's face. Learn something new every day.
Well, now I'm pissed.
That sequence I was telling you about, remember who you are, that wasn't supposed to be in the movie originally either. Because Mufasa was supposed to tell Simba something very important when the two of them are having a one-on-one near the beginning of the movie. And the idea was, well, the woman who wrote it, Brenda Chapman, people should follow her online. She wrote and directed Brave. She went on to do that.
Oh,
Among many other
Lion
things.
King and then directed
She wrote parts of Lion King. They have teams of writers. She also wrote parts of Beauty and the Beast as well. And her husband directed Enchanted, among various other projects. King of Egypt was her directorial debut.
Gotcha.
But anyway, Prince of Egypt. I'm sorry, I'm getting tired. But anyway, that sequence in The Lion King, the idea was that the Mufasa was supposed to reference the important thing he told to Simba. And they told her that, and she said, okay, great, tell me what it is, and I'll write it in this scene. And she said, they told me we don't have that scene written yet. And she said, that's great, but if you want me to reference it, you need to tell me what he's saying so I can reference it. And they said, okay, but we don't have it written yet. And she said, fine, when do you need my scene by? And they said, well, we need your scene by the end of the week. And I said, okay, but I can't write my scene if I don't have the part that you want me to reference.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, well, we still need yours by the end of the week. And she said, okay. So she said, I wrote some dialogue, and the week was coming to a close, and I had to turn mine in, but they still didn't have what they needed me to have. So she said, so I wrote remember, and then I just left a blank. And then remember, and I left a blank, and I thought, okay, I can't leave a blank a third time. So remember who you are. And she submitted it that way, and they recorded it that way. And they never ended up writing the lines, and they never even wrote whatever it was for him to reference. So in the final version, it says, remember who you are. And they just left it that way.
Dope.
That's it. That's all I got.
Fucking.
Sorry, man, I'm fading.
No, how many decisions are made in production that are just,
It's
a
a
product
fun-
of just like, I don't want to deal with this. You figure it out.
Yeah, it worked out pretty well.
It happens a lot. So yeah, it's John Favreau directed that.
What?